WATT is still rallying. Ay, ay, ay. So if you guys were in the live stream today, you saw WATT, our lead gapper. We were watching it basically most of the day, along with LIFE and PECK. And we had one really nice trade on it. And the other one, I kind of got spooked out on. And then it just shot up, like, what was that, 30% or so? Or was it just 20%? I don't know. It just feels like a lot. Either way, I kind of missed out, and I even took a small loss on it, unfortunately. The trade was right, but the thesis was off. And today, the whole reason that kind of happened, I was really thinking it through, and I kind of talked about this a little bit in the recap. I definitely talked about it in the recap video, but I was talking about it at the end of the stream. And it's because, with LIFE, we called out the exact move before it happened, but I didn't enter it because I didn't have any more kind of trades available. I didn't have enough cash to allocate to that potential setup. And then PECK, I was going to enter that one, but I wanted to save the money for the upcoming WATT trade. So when I missed LIFE and PECK, then maybe I had a little bit of FOMO and I entered too early and I didn't wait for a pullback. And I don't know, it's just one of those situations where, I ended the day green, but it could have been 2-3 times as profitable as a green day. Basically like waiting 3 more minutes. So that's a little bit annoying. It happens. But the hardest part about that is the fact that since we're using US broker, TD Ameritrade, and any US broker, and we have an account on $25,000 at the moment since we're doing the 25K challenge, we have to figure out how we want to allocate our trades. And it's so annoying going into a trade thinking, do I want to get out of this trade early, or do I want to, hold on to it because it's the only trade? So that's been a constant mental hurdle of this challenge. And I think that's probably been the biggest mental hurdle of this challenge. So if we go ahead and switch brokers to an offshore brokerage account, which I already opened an account there, and we might be switching sometime, this month, next month. I need to really think it through. I want to kind of test it out a little bit. Then that issue will go away. So that's something I'm really kind of valuing more and more for a offshore brokerage account, even if you have to pay higher fees, because that hurdle, that mental hurdle, sometimes really gets me. I'll talk about it more, and let's go ahead and review the charts now. Don't forget to leave a like, guys, if you enjoy the content. Don't forget to subscribe if you're totally new. I would love to see you again, especially in that chat room. I'll get the internet better, I swear. I already have contact with a new internet provider. I know the issue now, and it's because we have glass fiber, but only to the street. And then there's like a copper connection that messes it all up. And then if enough people are using it, the internet basically just stops working. And that always happens at very specific times during the day. And one of my live streaming is one of those times. So that's Vodafone. Horrible Vodafone. Shame on you for even selling glass fiber when it's not totally glass fiber. So we're switching to telecom, which has it's the whole way through. The glass fiber is the whole way through, and we won't be having that issues because it's crazy. I have like the best internet plan on paper, but in practice, it's absolutely horrible. I don't know what to say. Besides, let's just go to the charts now. All right, everyone, welcome to the recap video. So here's WATT, our lead gapper on the day. And just really quickly, if you go press Control E on your keyboard, it brings up the studies here, and I got asked what studies I have. And I'm using the moving average exponential, the 15 EMA, it's oftentimes referred to as, and VWAP on the -2, 2, and day settings. So that's what you see here. Basically, these 3 lines, that's VWAP, and the blue line is, the light blue line is the 15-minute EMA. And I also use, on the daily chart, 180-day moving average. That's actually the only thing I have on this chart. I guess besides, you could say the RSI and, well, of course I have volume here, but I don't almost ever look at this RSI unless I'm trading large caps or, swing trading large caps or investing in large caps. Sometimes I'll look for that, maybe additional confirmation that we're maybe near some sort of relative low. But for day trading, I don't use RSI whatsoever. And then you could also say that support and resistance, so these red lines here that I draw basically using this price level, and then I just double click that or click it once and then move it around. That's technically
I guess you could say an indicator as well, because these to me are some of the best indicators. You have clear support here, clear resistance there, multi-month, multi-week levels that oftentimes are true on the intraday as well. And you can see, that's exactly what happened, because right here we have the 180-day moving average coming down here. We have the support and resistance zones here and here, and check out what happened pre-market. So let's just talk about pre-market. We ran all the way to the top two lines, and then we started consolidating in these lines, because this is where the big buyers and the sellers are in these lines. So when we were consolidating that area, it was actually a really, really healthy sign. And let's quickly kind of recap overall what happened here with, just move the microphone a little bit, what happened with WATT. So this thing runs up about 170, 200% pre-market. It had a float of 28 million, which was really, really nice. A little bit on the high side, maybe like 2.8 times on the high side, but they had a really strong catalyst. Let's quickly just go back here on the catalyst. So they got an FCC, the Federal Trade Commission, what does it stand for again? Not so much important right now, but anyway, they had good financials the day before leading up to it. They had some good results in these areas, and then they got a big certification from the FCC on some power distance wireless charging, which actually was pretty interesting. I was reading through some of the report this morning on the watch list. Overall, though, it doesn't really matter if you can decipher the news or not, as long as there is a decent news. And a lot of times, collaborations, good earnings, big deal winners, like contract winners are really nice. Anytime you have a collaboration, like I said, but with maybe a larger company or with the government, those are typically, or some sort of FDA approval, those are really good catalysts. And ultimately, as long as you understand that, we need a decent catalyst, and then, how does that affect the price? And on WATT, this affected the price pretty substantially. We went up about 200%, give or take. And this is what I really started liking about it. When we were holding the highs here in this area, so we only pulled back, actually, at the max right here around 225, from the high, about 22%. I like that. So I'm typically looking for no pullbacks more than 25%. When I see pullbacks, in the 25, 30, 35%, I could basically almost discount that lead gapper, because it has too much sellers in it. There's probably something else going on, and it's no longer really interesting to me. So WATT was doing exactly what I wanted it to do, and I almost went ahead and took a pre-market trade here, but we had a really nice one yesterday, and I typically don't do pre-market trading, so I didn't trade this one, but pre-market. So let's kind of zoom in here and see how this thing opened up. Out of the gates, TOS totally froze. For the first minute, we weren't getting any updates, so I wasn't really sure what was going on, and we had a really quick pullback. Let's see, this whole pullback was about 10%, and in 2 candles. And around 2.47 was near the low here, maybe 2.45 or something like that. I was really thinking about having a potential entry here. I would have probably liked to see it go a little bit lower first, because I did think it was overextended and needed to consolidate a little bit longer. But it was really hard to get a feel for it, since we didn't know. This was only the second minute trading. In the first minute, we weren't even able to watch it because TOS was so laggy. So instantly, on the third minute, this thing just runs up, and the first candle goes 26%, gets halted for 5 minutes, opens up, gets a little shaky, and then overall this run was 44%. This would have been a really, really good red to green move. I'm a little disappointed I missed it, but that's just how it is sometimes. What was nice though is I was expecting this to be a bit of an ABC pattern, so A, B, C, and then consolidate here on the D and breakout, which kind of almost happened, but then we got rejected on the breakout, and then we started selling off. This was a really aggressive sell-off, and eventually bought the dip here at 279, which was almost near perfect, and I wanted to sell near the VWAP 15-minute EMA bounce, and that was my goal. I did think, there's a good chance that we may continue a move here, maybe go to this shoulder or even this shoulder. But at the same time, this thing had a big run, and I felt like it needed a longer time to consolidate. So that's why I felt pretty comfortable taking my profits here. And this was a really, really nice way to kind of start the day. What I should have done though is when we popped back up here, this is a 15% move, and then we pulled back to VWAP. I should have made an entry here because this was looking good. This is the lead gap on the day, $250 million in dollar volume. I mean, that's like just wham kablam. That's super nice. That's what we're looking for. This thing was up at 40 million within the first few minutes. So this thing was just very actively traded, which is good. You know, a lot of people are looking at it. So when it's back above VWAP, you know it's back in the game. And I missed this entry. I was a little too conservative. I was again too conservative here. And then I finally get aggressive, a little bit more aggressive on this potential breakout here. We were starting to make a move higher on this 1 minute candle, and I bought as we were kind of making higher, and I kind of, you know, also pulled back a little bit, and I got a nice little kind of pullback in this 1 minute candle. Unfortunately, we pulled back again. We were down like, I don't know, maybe like 5% on this position, so about $75, and I was like, that's kind of annoying, because, you know, we've been watching this one the whole time, and I was a little bit too conservative here, and again a little bit too conservative here. By this one, I was like too conservative by like 2 cents. So we just missed this entry, and then you know, you don't know when these stocks are over, when the run's over, and unfortunately I did close this position because I thought, okay, well, that was a pretty mean sell-off. It could easily do that again, another 6%, and then I'm down 12%. That's past my max stop loss, so I kind of got out of this trade here at my kind of 5% roughly max stop loss. Unfortunately, it does rip up, and this, you know, in 2 minutes, this thing just absolutely explodes, so 20%. So I was right on this trade, but my timing was off, which was a little bit painful here because we could have really ended the day up nicely. I mean, we ended the day here about up $65 on 2 trades. Basically, we were up like $85 on the first one, and then we lost like 20 on the second one. So that's just how it was. Not really the end of the world, but it was tough because, you know, at the same time, I kind of felt a little down at the end of the day because it could have been a really, really good day. The toughest part about today was the fact that, you know, I was trying to take bigger position size, which means I could have only traded twice. So after this first trade, I only had one more trade to make. And I was looking at PECK, which was one of the lead movers as well. On this big pullback here at 412, I probably would have bought it. Who knows? Maybe I would have stopped out for a loss on this one. But I was about to buy it here, but then I was like, I only have one, you know, trade. Do I want to use it on this one? And then it rips, you know, 20%. I'm like, that should have used it on that one. And then I was looking at Life, which was our second lead gap around the day, 40%, you know, rally pre-market, nice tiny float. Here we go, 40% pre-market, 9 million float. And in this area, we kind of had a failed red to green move, but then we were kind of really holding the highs here. And before this green candle happened, so somewhere in this area, I was like, this is looking pretty healthy. You know, yeah, we sold off very aggressively, but the fact that we're kind of still holding the highs just a little bit is kind of a good sign. This could be a recovery right here, and we might have a nice red to or kind of a midday break above VWAP, and that's exactly what happened actually. And when we had that first tick here, this first one, I said I would love to buy a little pullback on this around 3.45 or something like that. So that would have been the entry, and I probably would have sold on this VWAP touch for like 4% or so. I don't think I would have held this, you know, whole 10% move, but that would have been the second trade. Boom, right there. And then maybe I was having a little bit of a FOMO that like I was missing these moves left and right because I only had this one trade left, and maybe that's why I entered a little bit too early here. But at the same time, I don't know. It's really tough to say, you know, what would have, what could have, what should have been, but I gotta say, with this, you know, $25,000 small count challenge so far, since we're using a U.S. broker, TD Ameritrade, it's been the hardest part is the fact that I'm always limited artificially on what I can do, which sometimes makes me second guess something that I should not be second guessing. I should only be looking at the chart in front of me, what I think about it at any given time, which is always easier said than done when you know that this is the only trade maybe you can make that day. So like, is that going to make me overhold a position? Is it going to make me close a position too early? Is it going to make me do something that has nothing to do with the actual chart in front of me? And from my experience in the last few months, definitely yes. So what I have tried to do is spread up my position size a bit more. So I take 3 trades on average a day. But then I notice that, sometimes I only trade once and I'm like, ooh, this is taking forever to grow my position size, my account size now, because I'm not trading enough size. So it's kind of like this kind of give or take. And I just gotta understand that this is a bit of a slow battle because of that. But that's just how it is. And I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that was a big factor today on what was kind of driving some of my decision making, which was a little bit annoying. But yeah, just I'll let you guys know how it is. So I hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Don't forget to leave a like if you did. And like always, if you're totally new here, consider subscribing. I'd love to see you again. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you guys first thing tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. to trade the market open. Till then, guys, have a good evening. Ciao, ciao.